Hey, I'm Joshua. Welcome to episode 6 of my Homestead journal, where I just show you everything behind the scenes that we have going on our homestead. We are on less than 2 acres here in Central Virginia. We've got a dozen chickens, a growing garden. Behind me is our raspberries, and that's going to be the focus of today. Woo! If the wind doesn't knock over the tripod. Woo, it's a windy one today. Let me tell you about the raspberries we have going on here. I was out here last night until about 10 o'clock with a headlamp on. Gardening at night with a headlamp is one of my favorite things to do, especially now this early in the year in March before the bugs come out. What I did last night was clean up this area, reinforce the fence, put in a few more T-posts, added a gate, and planted 2 more raspberry canes. Let me show you a little bit closer up and tell you about it and what we're going to do next to help trellis the raspberries and keep out more of the wildlife from eating our precious berries. Last spring, I moved the raspberries here, which is on the other side of our driveway from our main garden, because I noticed how much they were spreading and I wanted to make sure we had enough room for them. So this is an enclosure that is 20 feet by 10 feet. And there's a specific reason I did those dimensions that I'll tell you about when we're talking about supporting and trellising. Not really trellising, more supporting the raspberries. But what we're doing is we have these T-posts every 10 feet and we have chicken wire going around. One of the things I was working on last night was going around and using these hardware staples, or landscape staples actually, I think is what they're better known and referred to as. I think they're 6 inches, and just helping hold down the base of the fence. Because last spring, our raspberries are not doing as well as they could be, because last spring, I kind of just threw everything here, put up the fence without really securing it very well, and deer came and ate the growth as it grew. We definitely got some raspberries, but not nearly as much as we could have, but the plants are still alive. We've added 2 new canes. Let me show you those now. All right, here's one of the 2 new canes that we planted last night. I cut it about 2 inches out of the soil, planted the roots about 1 to 2 inches below the soil. They were bare roots, so I soaked them for about 2 hours as I was working on cleaning up and getting a lot of leaves out of this area and working on the fencing. So I cut it 2 inches. That will help promote the new growth and the roots, and it'll come up through and it'll spread. So for this one I planted here, there's actually one right here coming up from the roots. So it will fill in if I didn't add this. However, I'd like for it to fill in sooner rather than later for this area. Gonna get some delicious raspberries. Let me explain how I'm going to support these. I'm excited about that. Still very windy. I apologize. I know the audio is not as good as it could be. What I'm excited about, and I'm going to show you it's right over here. The reason I have the dimensions 20 feet by 10 feet is so that way we'll have room to walk all the way around this cattle panel that will be suspended this way. So just picture it laying flat on the ground, but suspended a couple feet in the air. I'm going to replace the current support system that we have, which are U-posts, not as strong as T-posts, and wire. This is what we currently have, and it works for helping keep it a little bit in place, but it doesn't have any support this way. One piece of advice when you're putting in these staples, don't do what I used to do and use my shoe to push them down. I tore through an old tennis shoe doing that. I use just the backside of this hammer, or you could use a smaller mallet or a regular hammer. If you're going to be putting in a lot of T-posts for a fence or trellises, I'd highly recommend getting a post driver. This costs, I think, about 40 bucks, and it is so much nicer than using a mallet, which I did for the first 2 years of putting in these T-posts. It's better on your back, it's safer for your hands and your feet, and pretty much everything involved. Yeah, post drivers, definitely worth it, even though it's just a one task tool, where normally I like to have a tool that can do more than one job. This one's definitely worth it if you're gonna be doing a lot of post driving. I've mentioned deer ate our raspberries last year, and they can easily jump over this. This isn't stopping them. That might stop some bunnies. What we've done around the main garden is we've added these carbon fiber poles. I got them at Tractor Supply. And what we do is we attach them up here and it extends it. So that way we can have electric fence wire going up 7 feet. What I might do that here, I'm considering just doing it in the front and then having it go down from the top to the sides, kind of like a drawbridge or a suspension bridge. The corners would still be low enough for them to jump over, but then I just use less of these. However, I might not want to scrimp on adding these because then it would just be that much less secure. And we want to get as many raspberries as we can. So keeping the deer out is going to be a high priority. I've just decided I'm going to do that all the way around. It just means adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those extra poles. Oh, this is the gate. It's actually a repurposed gate from, I replaced the garden gates in the fall with new tank tube gates, which are so much better, but I had this old one, and we're not going to be using this as often. We might come out here a couple times a week, not every day, at least not multiple times a day. So I attached this one with zip ties over there. I'm gonna get a large nail. We have like a foot long nail that I'm gonna put in the corner here. So that way we can lift this up hollow. We can lift it up, sit it on top, and it'll attach. And then we can have a zip tie up here that can just sit around there to temporarily latch. So very inexpensive, not super secure, but will keep out the deer. But it's a lot of fun. These raspberries are coming in nicely. This growth grew last year. They put on raspberries in the fall the first year, and then the second year we'll put on more during the summer. That's been my experience. There's different types of raspberries out there. I got these for free because I bought a garden box on Facebook Marketplace, and the person just had these in it. We thought they were dead, but obviously they're not. I'm excited for all these raspberries. If you enjoy this video and want to see more of what we have going on throughout the growing season, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys can spend some time in your garden today.